If you are following the Baltimore Ravens as closely as I am, you know that every move they make, whether it is on the field or in the front office, has the potential to shake things up in a big way. The team has been through some intriguing scenarios lately, and the conversation around adding a high-caliber wide receiver like George Pickens has been gaining traction now. Let's be honest, this is not something that I would have pegged as highly likely when thinking about the Ravens' strategy moving forward. But the mere fact that his name is being thrown into the mix is enough to make any fan start imagining the possibilities. Picture it, Lamar Jackson operating with someone like Pickens as a reliable, dynamic target on the outside. That combination, reminiscent of the hype surrounding the draft class when David Ojabo was selected, could give this offense an entirely new dimension. It would bring a different kind of energy to a passing game that has, at times, struggled to connect on deeper routes. Rashad Bin has proven himself as a possession receiver, and while many consider him a deep threat due to his precise route running, the reality is that he hasn't consistently thrived when trying to stretch the field vertically. Having a talent like Pickens could change the way defenses prepare for Baltimore, opening up more opportunities across the field, of course. Bringing someone in like Pickens is not without challenges. His personality is a topic that would need careful management. How will he handle limited targets or moments where the chemistry with Jackson isn't instantaneous? We have seen situations like this before, and they can go either way. But if the Ravens coaching staff can integrate him effectively, the payoff could be enormous. This move wouldn't replace other priorities, like shoring up the offensive line on both sides of the quarterback, which remains a critical factor, but adding a playmaker of that caliber, even if it is considered a long shot by many, could be the spark. This offense needs to elevate its game to the next level. The key is balance, finding a way to add talent without compromising the foundational pieces that keep the team competitive. Meanwhile, on the defensive side of the ball, the Ravens just secured a major win by extending Travis Jones' contract. For those who have been tracking his career, the 3-year, $40 million deal might have seemed surprising at first glance. But when you look at the context, it starts to make sense. Jones' path to this deal was complicated by technical issues related to the collective bargaining agreement. Similar situations have cropped up before with other players, and it underscores just how nuanced and sometimes unpredictable player contracts can be in the NFL. Without the 5th-year option available, Jones was heading toward restricted free agency, which could have made retaining him a more complex and potentially costly process. However, Baltimore and Jones were able to find a resolution that satisfied both sides, avoiding a grievance hearing and locking in a key piece of their defensive line for the next few seasons. The excitement surrounding this signing is not just about the numbers, it is about stability and continuity in a group that has faced a lot of uncertainty. Travis Jones' impact on the field goes beyond the stats sheet. While his sack totals may not fully reflect his value, his presence in the interior of the defensive line, his ability to disrupt running lanes, and his overall versatility make him a cornerstone player for this unit. The Ravens need to continue building around him, pairing him with other interior linemen or emerging talents to maintain a consistent pass rush and solid run defense. Even without eye-popping statistics, his contributions to the overall scheme are substantial, and his youth means that he still has plenty of room to grow and potentially elevate his performance in the coming years. For a team looking to compete at a high level, having that kind of reliability up the middle is invaluable. Shifting back to the offensive side, the conversation about extensions and keeping core talent in place cannot be overlooked. Players like Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, and Marlon Humphrey are central to Baltimore's plans, and how the front office navigates contract negotiations will play a huge role in shaping the team's trajectory. Flowers, assuming no CBA complications, is likely to command a contract that reflects his ability to change games downfield, while Humphrey's performance and role may lead to some difficult decisions about salary cap allocation. The Ravens' ability to retain players who fit both the culture and the system will influence their approach to free agency and potential trades, especially as they look to fill gaps and enhance both the passing attack and defensive depth. Balancing investments across key positions while keeping the team competitive in the short term is always a delicate act, and Baltimore is no exception. This brings us back to the idea of adding someone like George Pickens. The cost of such a move would be significant, not only financially, but also in terms of team chemistry and how it affects existing receivers. Yet, If the Ravens can create an environment where he thrives, this could be a game-changing addition. The offense would gain a vertical threat capable of pulling defenders out of position and giving Lamar Jackson more space to operate. In a league where elite wide receivers can transform an entire offensive philosophy, this kind of addition cannot be underestimated, combined with a stable core on the defensive line, anchored by Jones and complemented by other key players. The Ravens would be in a position to maintain a competitive edge both in their division and across the league. While the season is still unfolding and there are 4 games left on the schedule, the offseason will be just as crucial as anything happening on the field right now. Extensions, free agent acquisitions, and internal development all converge to shape the team that Baltimore will take into the following season. The strategic choices made now, from how the offensive line is reinforced to which defensive pieces are retained or added, will dictate whether the Ravens can address their weaknesses and maximize their strengths for fans. This is the kind of scenario that keeps the excitement alive, because every decision has immediate implications on how the next season might play out. Looking ahead, the Ravens' off-season plans are going to hinge on smart roster construction and shoring up key positions on both sides of the ball, with Travis Jones locked in for the next 3 years. They have a reliable anchor in the middle of their defensive line, but that doesn't erase the fact that there are still plenty of question marks. The situation with Nnamdi Medic is unresolved, leaving a potential gap at a critical position if Medic cannot return or is delayed. Baltimore will need to explore other options to ensure that their interior defense remains stout against both the run and the pass. Pairing Jones with complementary talent, whether through free agency, the draft, or internal development, will be a top priority. The ability to generate pressure on opposing quarterbacks without sacrificing gap integrity against the run is essential for a team aiming to contend in a division as competitive as the AFC North. Defensive stability is often underrated, but it is the foundation upon which championship-caliber teams are built. On the offensive side, Lamar Jackson remains the central figure, and the supporting cast around him will determine just how far this team can go. Zay Flowers' trajectory and contract situation are pivotal, because he represents a high-upside weapon, capable of creating explosive plays downfield. If Flowers hits his 5th-year option without complications, Baltimore will need to allocate significant resources to retain him, potentially reshaping their salary cap strategy. Meanwhile, Marlon Humphrey's performance this season has sparked debate about his long-term role, as he has struggled at times against elite receivers. The Ravens have to weigh his experience and leadership against the cap savings they could achieve. If they decide to move on, these decisions are never easy, especially when the difference between winning and losing in the NFL often comes down to a few critical plays and the personnel executing them. The team also has younger talent like Isaiah Likely and emerging contributors in positions like tight end and wide receiver, who could play larger roles depending on how the roster is adjusted in the offseason. The key for Baltimore will be integrating these pieces effectively, ensuring that they have depth and versatility across the board. Injuries are an inevitable part of football, and having reliable backups or players ready to step into larger roles is crucial. The Ravens' success in the coming years will depend on maintaining a balance between developing young players and retaining proven veterans. This careful orchestration of talent management is what separates good teams from elite ones. When you consider potential additions like George Pickens, the Ravens have to look at both the immediate impact and the long-term consequences. Bringing in a receiver of his caliber would not only enhance the passing attack, but also open up opportunities for others. Defenses would have to respect his speed, size, and ability to make contested catches, which could loosen coverage on Flowers, Likely, and other emerging targets. The ripple effect of one impactful player can change the way opponents game plan against the team, and that strategic advantage cannot be overlooked. Of course, chemistry and personality considerations are always part of the equation. Integrating a new, high-profile player into a locker room that values cohesion and team culture is a delicate process, but if handled correctly, it can lead to explosive results on the field. The Ravens also face the perennial challenge of the offensive line, particularly at the guard positions. The ability to protect Lamar Jackson and establish a running game is non-negotiable if the team wants to compete at the highest level. Last season has shown that when the offensive line struggles, the entire scheme begins to unravel. The Ravens cannot afford to have a talented receiving corps or dynamic quarterback limited by insufficient protection. The offseason will require shrewd investments in the trenches, whether through the draft, free agency, or strategic trades. A well-constructed offensive line does more than just protect the quarterback. It opens up the playbook and allows for creativity, misdirection, and a more balanced attack that keeps defenses off guard. As for the defensive strategy, Baltimore will likely continue to focus on creating pressure and controlling the line of scrimmage. Travis Jones provides a foundation, but complementary pieces are needed to keep opposing offenses off balance. The edge rusher situation, interior depth, and rotation of younger players will all be critical factors. Defensive versatility is increasingly important in today's NFL, where offenses are fast, multiple, and constantly evolving. Teams cannot rely on a single superstar to carry the unit. They need a cohesive group capable of executing complex schemes and adjusting to in-game situations. The Ravens' ability to develop these complementary pieces will define their defensive identity moving forward. Additionally, the Ravens must consider special teams and situational players. As games are often decided by the smallest margins, the roster decisions in these areas may not get the headlines, but they are crucial to a complete team. Punting, kick returns, coverage units, and situational substitutions can swing momentum and provide the edge in tightly contested games. Attention to these details, combined with strategic roster construction and key extensions, forms the backbone of a successful franchise approach. The offseason will also be a time to reflect on lessons learned from the current season, understanding where improvements are needed, which players overperformed or underperformed, and how to adjust the coaching philosophy will be essential. John Harbaugh's leadership and ability to manage personalities and develop young talent will again be a critical factor. Balancing immediate competitiveness with long-term sustainability requires a nuanced approach, and the Ravens have the pieces to navigate this effectively if they make the right decisions. Ultimately, the trajectory of the team hinges on a combination of factors: key contract extensions, strategic acquisitions, development of younger talent, and ensuring that core veterans remain productive and motivated, whether it is a potential addition like George Pickens or the retention of cornerstone players like Travis Jones. Each move will ripple across the roster. The Ravens' ability to integrate new pieces while maintaining continuity, protect their franchise quarterback, and address weaknesses in both the trenches and skill positions will determine how they perform in the coming seasons. The excitement for fans is not just about wins and losses in the current season, but about the blueprint being laid for a team that can compete at a high level for years to come. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens, and hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. A wave of speculation has hit the NFL world, and it all started with an image that fans are calling the spark of the offseason: Drake Jackson. The explosive edge rusher, known for his relentless speed and highlight reel sacks, was spotted wearing purple and unmistakable color in the Ravens' signature palette. Social media erupted instantly, with hashtags and memes flooding timelines as fans and analysts tried to decode what this appearance could mean. Was it just a stylistic choice, or the first hint of a blockbuster move brewing behind the scenes? The scene was electric. Jackson, casually posing in the striking purple gear, seemed to hint at more than a simple fashion statement. Sources close to the locker room whispered that the phone lines at Ravens headquarters were buzzing like never before. Insiders suggest that the team's management may have finally made the push to secure one of the most coveted defensive talents in recent years. While neither party has confirmed anything publicly, the timing and visuals are enough to ignite the rumor mill. Fans immediately began dissecting the implications. Could Jackson's presence in Baltimore reshape the defensive landscape? The Ravens, long known for their aggressive front seven schemes, would gain a dynamic player capable of both pressuring the quarterback and disrupting offensive lines. Analysts speculate that pairing him with the existing talent could create a nightmare for opposing offenses, one that stretches across the division and potentially the league. Every angle is being considered, from scheme fit to contract logistics, as the speculation grows more intense. Meanwhile, rival teams are reportedly on high alert, monitoring the situation closely. Some scouts are said to have started revising their defensive strategies preemptively, anticipating the potential impact of a player of Jackson's caliber joining the Ravens roster. The energy surrounding this possible signing is palpable, a mix of excitement, intrigue, and a hint of panic for competitors if the whispers turn out to be true. It could mark one of the most talked about moves of the season. A seismic shakeup that fans and analysts will dissect endlessly. For now, the chatter continues. Fueled by a single, electrifying image, Drake Jackson in purple, a visual that has fans buzzing, front offices on alert, and the rumor mill working overtime. Whether this is the start of a confirmed deal or just a playful tease, one thing is certain: the NFL world is watching, guessing, and holding its breath for the next move. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.